An all-new era of Avengers are ready to assemble once more. What adventures will they find waiting for them on the other side? Well, let's hop into the pages of Avengers issue number 1, a brand new series courtesy of MACKAY, and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we get a chance to check on in with Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. She's just sitting and enjoying the fragile beauty and majesty that is planet Earth. It would seem that after the end of their last adventure in the God Quarry, Captain Marvel has been named the brand new chairperson of the Avengers team, and because this is a rebuilding period, it looks like she's going to have to go and find some new members. Some faces are pretty damn familiar, like Iron Man. Tony Stark very slyly says to Carol, "Hey, now that you're chairperson, I bet you can't wait to start policing the world, huh?" Only for Carol to say she never envisioned the Avengers as a police force, more like firefighters rushing into dangerous situations and making all the difference knowing that they can. When heroes act like police, that's when you get bad situations like civil wars, and well, Carol knows all about the bad ends of civil wars. In fact, she says that's one of the many reasons she wants Iron Man to be her number 2 in this brand new Avengers team, because, well, we've all seen what happens when these two are at odds with one another. And wouldn't you know it, this brand new super partnership is already about to be tested, as this new Avengers team has its first mission to deal with a rampaging Terminus. You may remember this guy as an old-timey Fantastic Four foe, who has now returned looking for an experimental power source housed at something called Project Pegasus. The story from here actually does a really good job jumping back and forth in time and showing how Carol recruited the new members of her Avengers team as they join the battle. First up, we have Thor, God of Thunder, who says to Carol that he's been part of the Avengers since the very beginning and he'll happily be on the team until the bitter end. In a nice bit of continuity from MACKAY, Carol admits that it's really nice to have Thor on her side now, especially considering he's been through so much, losing his father, becoming king, etc., in his own book. And also, when you're fighting a giant kaiju-sized robot, it's good to have a Norse god of lightning on your side to kick some ass and take some names. Next on the recruitment drive is T'Challa, who Carol describes as the most dangerous man in the world. Black Panther and the Avengers had left on not-so-good terms at the end of the previous series, and it seems the former king of Wakanda has basically put himself into a self-imposed exile, so he's pretty shocked to not only see Carol right here, right now, not judging him, but actually asking him to come back to the team. Because, hey, you know, the Avengers are a big old dysfunctional family, and sometimes in families, you gotta be the bigger person and be willing to forgive. During the Terminus fight, we see Black Panther take point in trying to rescue all of the scientists who are trapped inside Project Pegasus, except for the lead engineer, who he decides to bring with him to try and deactivate the station before it causes any trouble. The Lady Doctor is obviously hesitant, but Black Panther says, "Hey, cheer up, today you're an Avenger, the greatest title anyone could ever have, and I say that being a former king." Now, so far we've seen a lot of old guard members on this Avengers team, but what about some new blood? Obviously they're gonna need a Captain America, but Carol shocks everyone by choosing not Steve, but instead Sam. Captain Marvel says that she wants to put the Avengers' humanity at the forefront during her time as chairperson. And no person exemplifies this idea better than Sam Wilson, social worker turned superhero. Also, don't feel too bad for Steve, he's happy to see Sam get the big promotion, and also you can read Steve Captain America as the leader of an Avengers team over in the Uncanny Avengers book once that starts. Once again, in a nice bit of connective tissue, MACKAY reminds us that Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Black Panther aren't exactly seeing eye to eye recently after what went down in Sam's own book. But both men are heroes and professionals, and they're willing to put aside their own personal differences if it means saving the day and helping those in need. And speaking of those in need, there's the strange case of the Vision, who it seems has fallen into a bad case of existential dread following the conclusion of the Judgment Day story. Apparently, he was one of the only Avengers who weren't judged. He confides in Carol, does that mean the celestial gods viewed him as less than human, more of a machine unfit of judgment? Carol says that she wants Vision on the team not because she thinks he has something to prove, but because she knows he has nothing to prove. It's around this time during the fight, Black Panther and the engineer are able to riddle out that Project Pegasus was trying to tap into brand new sources of renewable energy, in this case trying to get energy from a black hole reactor. We also know for a fact that Terminus is either not nearly as smart as he lets on, or way more desperate than our heroes were led to believe, because he actually damaged the machine during the fight. Now this thing's about to go totally nuclear and kill an untold amount of people unless they can stop it. Luckily, Captain Marvel thought about that, as the last member of her her Avengers team proves to be the ultimate ace in the hole. Of course, I'm talking about Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, who actually doesn't need that much convincing at all to come and join the Avengers. The way she puts it, her life has been an endless cavalcade of chaos, but the Avengers has always been a place where she felt safest. Also, there was a moment here where I'm like, oh wow, they finally let mutants back on the Avengers team again, how cool. Then I'm reminded, oh wait, despite Scarlet Witch actually reconciling with mutant kind in Krakoa, she's still not technically a mutant. Wanda attempts to cast a magic spell to imprison the impending power source explosion, but it's not going to be enough. There's way too much interference in the area, meaning that Carol has to think quick, flying the black hole emitter out of Earth's atmosphere as fast as humanly possible, even though doing so puts her at great personal risk. In the end, Captain Marvel manages to save her team and all the regular people trapped down below, but unfortunately the black hole emitter ends up blowing up in her face. Naturally, the team is horrified at the idea that their brand new chairperson, the person who brought them all together, may be dead on their very first mission, but the truth, as is often the case in Avengers, is so much stranger. Captain Marvel isn't dead, but she has been transported somewhere in time, a place in between seconds, a place where she ends up coming face to face with a dying Kang the Conqueror, an old Avengers villain who claims to have a warning for both Captain Marvel and the rest of the world. Could this have something to do with the convergence that Terminus was talking about? I guess we'll have to pick up the next issue to find out. And so that was Avengers issue number 1, everybody, and I think this issue offers up everything fans have been asking for, especially after the long run that was the Jason Aaron era. MACKAY does a really good job grounding the story and especially showcasing the humanity of all the different members of the Avengers team, something he's always been good at in his other works and something that I think is really necessary here and now. When the Jason Aaron series took everything so big and so cosmic and so multiversal, sometimes all you really want as a comic reader is just likable versions of your favorite heroes hanging out, talking, and bouncing off one another, and we certainly have this here. In fact, this is probably the most I've enjoyed Carol in an Avengers book in a long time. Which, of course, makes it all the more tragic and unexpected when seemingly Captain Marvel gets taken off the table here in the first issue. Obviously, I don't think she's going to be gone forever, but I do think it's kinda cool how she was willing to bring together a version of the Avengers team who may have some bad blood and bad words between each other, knowing that she could probably help shepherd them through the rough patches, and now she's not going to be here to do that. Art's real solid too. I'm definitely interested to see where this series is going to go from here, especially when we stop and consider that this is going to be the first of 2 Avengers books that we're going to actually have the chance to read very soon. Overall, a very positive, a very well-deserved 8 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Jewel, and if you're seeing me right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, which I am very appreciative of. It really helps drive engagement and retention and all that other good YouTube stuff. So does liking and commenting. Wink wink. If you like my content too, you should check out my Patreon page. We just redid all the tiers, so there's a ton of great rewards. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, and well, it would just really help me out. It's never expected, but always appreciated. So until next time everyone, I've been Cape Joel, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.